Hello and welcome back to my small little library. Today we're gonna talk about the books I read in July. This is still a rather chaotic wrap-up. I am getting better at keeping track of what I read again, so next month wrap-up will be good again. We're still in chaos for this one. I am going to start with the physical reads again, which are only 4, which I feel like I'm missing one, but these are the ones I put on my shelf that I have read. So we're gonna go with these ones. First off, I read Meridian, which I think is also called Meridian in English. It's by Amber Keitzer, and this is one of the books I read as a teenager. I really didn't like it on reread. It is a product of its time. It is about a girl who grows up under not so nice circumstances. She attracts dying animals, and they go to her when they are dying, and so she finds them dead all around her, which makes her an outcast at school, and the only person really being fine with it is her little brother, who thinks it's kind of cool. And on her 16th birthday, she nearly gets killed by a car accident, and a lot of her peers get injured and die, and she gets this really weird pain, and her mother sweeps her away and puts her on a bus to her aunt without really explaining, and then she learns that she's special and she is not really human and has special abilities, and it is from the mid 2000s, I think, or late 2000s. 2009 is this version. So you can kind of probably imagine what the rest of the book is like. I loved this as a teenager, I know that. It's pretty much your typical I want to be special teenager book, which I'm really grateful that there are a lot of those out there and that we had a lot of those growing up. But now rereading it, it's why? There's also this which we all heard when we were younger, that if somebody likes you, they annoy you and get on your nerves and stuff, which is so asinine, but that is also in this book. And yeah, it's really a product of its time. I gave it 2 stars. I'm gonna get rid of it. It's not a book I need to hold on to, I realized. So but it was good to actually reread it and realize what I liked back then, and that I can still be happy about having read the book back then and still being okay, it's not something that I enjoy now or that I would ever recommend to anybody, to be honest. So yeah. The second physical read that I read was Elfenlied, which is a 18+ manga, and there's also a anime out there of it. It is about her, I have forgotten, Lucy, and she's an experiment and she kills people. And this guy finds her when she escapes the prison. The prison, it's a laboratory that she's in, and then they send somebody after her to get her back, and there's a lot of death, a lot of nudity. I also didn't enjoy this one anymore. I'm giving it 3 stars because obviously it is supposed to be the way it is, but there is just so much sexualization of really young looking girls, which I'm not happy about. But I do like the violence aspect of the book, and that Lucy is this badass who, despite her circumstances, is really, really sweet, except for when her violence comes out, and then she has these extra arms and she can kill people with that, and she has other abilities and stuff like that. Would I recommend this? I think I would still recommend it, though you have to keep in mind that there is a lot of nudity, and it's your typical big breasts, everything is moving, and the guys behave like they have never seen a woman in their life. It is pretty typical for the time this came out as well. This is also from my childhood. I do think I read it when I was around 15, 16, maybe around there, because it was cool, because it was a book that you had to be 18 for. Would I read it again? Probably not. Will I keep hold of this copy? Yes, I will, because I once got rid of all of my mangas and I'm really sad about that I got rid of them. So I will not do that again, because I do like collecting mangas. I just sadly sold them all at some point because I didn't have the space and I needed the money. Then we have a DNF for this month, that is Jade Fire Gold by June CL10. This is one of like the older books that I got in book boxes that was on my shelves. I wasn't really interested in reading it anyway, and then I just couldn't get into the writing style, so I can't even tell you anything about this. I got maybe 20 pages in and then I DNF'd it. I couldn't get into it, and with the thing that was on my shelf for so long anyway, and I didn't get around to ever trying it, just really showed me that there's no interest there to read it. And so yeah, this will be sold or given away, whatever I will do with the books that go out. But yeah, it will go on that pile, and yeah, it's fine. I don't have to like everything. There's a good reason why I stopped getting the fantasy book boxes. And then we have the last physical read for the month, and that is The Secret Life of Fungi. I picked this up at the Nature Museum in Berlin, and this was a really great read. It's 4.5 stars. It is a non-fiction about fungi, and it is by Alia Whiteley, I think is how you pronounce her name. I really love the look of the book. And she goes on a journey of why she loves fungi, and throughout that journey she gives you a lot of facts about fungi and how they interact with the world and with us and all of that. It was really interesting. It is not like a super detailed book. Like there isn't like, you know, it's not like super detailed chapters about like one aspect. It's more of a journey throughout discovering fungi and a little bit of the history of fungi and how we interact with them, how we like put them on a pedestal at times and stuff like that. Like it was really interesting to get like an overview what is out there about fungi, and it did actually make me really interested to learn more about them. So I will probably pick up another non-fiction about fungi that is more on the scientific side, and this one is more on the like go on a journey with me side. So yeah, really enjoyed reading this and was really happy that I picked it up. And obviously you can't go to a museum and not pick up a book or anything that is like educational, you know, so I was really happy with that. Okay, let's talk about the ebooks that I read for the month. I actually did not read as many as I thought I did, mostly because I had a hard time sticking with the books. I had tried so many that I didn't like. So the first one I read was Sandcastles and Sunburn, which is a Daddy Little King novel. It is a short story with 140 pages by Athena Stella, and it is about Liam and Jude. Liam is an author who writes like kinkier books and romances, like kinkier romances, and Jude is an ex-military guy who pretty much shut everybody out because he lost his partner in a military operation. His partner was also in the military, and he just shut everybody out. And then Liam becomes his neighbor at the beach, and he falls for Liam, and there is a lot of like, even for the short length of the book, there was a lot of like emotional connection and emotional like just like talking, connecting back with old friends, working through the emotions of feeling like you aren't allowed to move on, but at the same time feeling like your partner would want you to move on, like the dead partner. And I really liked the book. It was really sweet. It worked really well, both characters, and I felt like for the shortness of the book there was a lot of like emotional maturity in the book, and the talk that the characters had was really nice. So yeah, I mean the kink stuff was there, but it wasn't like a massive part. It was just like, you know, just part of the characters, but like it wasn't like the focus of the book. And that was 4 stars. Really enjoyed that. Then the next one I read is Protecting the Nerd, which is the 4th book in the Forestville Silver Foxes series. I have read none of the other books because the age gaps were quite weird. This one, it is by Nora Phoenix. This one is about a nerd who works for like these security systems company, and he made this system that is used by the government, and so he becomes the target of a terrorist organization, and he needs a bodyguard. And the bodyguard was actually in the same military unit as the dead brother of our main character, and the parents are pretty shitty of the nerd. They still worship the dead brother and really don't care all that much for the living person. And the thing is, the dead brother was like a pretty shitty human being, but their parents don't want to see that. And so the novel has like these two parts of like this fake relationship with the bodyguard to not let people know that he has a bodyguard. You have like the threat of the terrorist organization, and then you have the part with the parents and with old friends from the brother and the behavior of the brother. I gave it 3 stars. Some aspects were just a little bit weird, and obviously there's the age gap, which I always struggle a little bit with. Other than that, the characters were just really generic. There was really little that made them stand out from like any other book with the nerd and the bodyguard. So yeah, it was fine, but it wasn't like one where I thought like, oh, I need to recommend this to somebody who likes like romances with bodyguards in them, you know? Then the next one I read was Changing the Play by Morgan Sloan, which is a jock nerd novel. We have Weston, who needs to get his grade up in history because he is about to lose a scholarship. It's not that he's bad in school, it's just that he doesn't understand history. He has a really hard time just with this one subject. Everything else he's really good at, but with history he really struggles. And so his professor actually recommends his own son as a tutor, and that is Darcy. And Darcy is a history nerd. He wants to become a professor just like his father, and he wants to help other people learn. And he has this ability to find out how people can learn the best, and so he is really like valued and really asked as a tutor at the university campus. And so Weston, I don't know if you can hear in the background, but we have like a summer storm going on with like lightning and everything. So if you can hear that in the background, yeah, that is what is happening right now. But Darcy starts tutoring Weston, and they fall for each other. And it was cute. I liked the fact that the jock wasn't dumb, and he actually doesn't want to go into sports after finishing university. He actually wants to become a teacher. Just his father isn't for that. It's, you have problematic family on the side of the jock this time around, and really supportive family on the side of the nerd, which I really liked. So yeah, that was a 4-star read. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a classical like jock and nerd romance, but it felt like it had enough of a twist with how the characters behaved that it was really working and wasn't like super average. Then I read another short story, which was called An Umbrella Drink Kind of Night, by M.A. Innes, and it is about 2 guys who get stood up by other dates, and so they get talking and they realize that they actually fit very well together, and they start dating from there. It is only 100 pages, so it is a pretty short story. It is pretty insta-lovey, but it was sweet and cute, and I liked it enough to give it like 3.5 stars. It was like a short, satisfying read, but it also doesn't really give you more than the 100 pages that it gives you, So it was fine. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I think a full-length novel would have worked probably better for that type of a story, but it was fine with the length that it has. Then I did a reread of Eternal Sin, which is the Immortals Assassin series part 1, which is a vampire assassination story, and the vampire falls for a human that has it really rough, and then he protects the human, takes him in, gives him a great life. Great series, 4 stars. Just the same as the first 3 times I read it. But yeah, I really needed a good romance at that point, so I did decide to go with a reread at that point. And then I also reread Wreaking Havoc, which is the Demon Bound series. Oh, let me give you the author of the Eternal Sin book. That is by Mia Monroe. And then the next romance I read is Wreaking Havoc, which is Demon Bound Book 1 by Gray Bryan, which is pretty similar to the Immortal Assassin series. It's with demons, and our humans are involved with the mafia, and they accidentally summon a demon. Sasha is the human in book 1, and he gets stabbed because of his brother and gets put into exile, just to keep him safe technically, and then he accidentally summons the demon Kai, and Kai then goes on to protect Sasha and go after his enemies, which was really cute. 4 stars. I really like those types of supernatural romances, so I was really happy reading them. Then, now we're finally at the part where I actually documented the reading in my notebook. So the next one I read then was Omega Captive of the Alpha Dragon by Wendy Rathbore, which was a novel about shifters, wolf shifters, who actually have shifters who can't shift anymore, and they sell them into slavery to bear children for other shifters, and our dragon main shifter actually goes and buys the wolf because his dragon tells him to, and then they have a really complicated relationship. Obviously, the wolf doesn't want to be a sex slave, and our dragon shifter doesn't want to own a sex slave, just that his dragon really fell in love with the wolf and wanted to have him, and so they slowly make a relationship out of it. The dragon actually frees the slave officially, going against societal standards, and yeah, it was really cute in the end. I gave it 3.5 stars. There was problems with consent. How much can you consent when you're not there out of your own free will, even if you change your mind, you know? So yeah, there were definitely, I don't know how much you can hear that, but it's really going on outside. Yeah, so you know, it was gray, morally gray at some points, but I did like the main characters, and the relationship that develops was really, really sweet. So 3.5 stars because the questionable consent. Then the next one I read was Hush Little Baby by E. Bailu. This is a dark romance where our main character, who is in legal and illegal trades but really, really rich, goes into a BDSM club and kidnaps a Little. And he just takes him home. The Little in the book has a pretty shitty life, and so technically our rich main character makes his life better, but he still kidnapped him. So yeah, I'm really conflicted. I'm gonna go with 3.5 stars as well. Both characters were really lovely, and also they were all really realistic about the situation that everybody was in, but there's still the questionable consent. No matter how sweet the relationship is and how much the main characters do for each other, it is always the questionable consent that gets me with these books. I wish for dark romance that doesn't have questionable consent. I would absolutely love that. But yeah, it was still not a bad book. Would recommend it actually. It was just, I don't know. I struggle with dark romances. And then the last 2 books I read in the month were 2 of the same series, and that was How to Flirt with a Hellhound and How to Hack a Hellhound by Shannon May. Both books I've already read before. It is the the Hellhound series of hers, where in the first one we have a author who does gory supernatural romance books, and then we have a Hellhound and they fall in love with each other. It's a pretty funny book, the first one, and then the second book is about the hacker of the Hellhound group and one of the guys they rescue in the first book who has a lot of trauma. So the second book is a lot about working through trauma and getting back into a more normal life and all of that, coupled with the Hellhound. There's a lot of funny stuff, it's a humorous book, so it works really well for me. Both of them have 4 stars still. I really enjoyed the series, at least the first 4 books, and then sadly I don't enjoy the series anymore, but the first 4 books of the series are great. So yeah, I reread those 2 because at that point I was really desperate for a good entertaining romance again, and I wanted a little bit of humor in my romance, and that series works quite well for that. So yeah, with that we have talked about all of the books that I read in July, which, you know, it was still a good amount of reading, but I was quite disappointed with the amount of romance I tried reading that obviously I'm not going to talk about because that would make the video so long, and also I don't really want to share bad books that I never finished. It doesn't make sense to me a lot of the time. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this wrap up of July, of the reading that I did. And yeah, if you want to share the books that you read or DNF'd or whatever, please do that down below. If you've read any of these books that I have read, please share that as well and your opinion on them. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, for watching and coming back, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye!